Welcome back. We're kicking off hour 2 here with Nico Romano. My brother Derek is hitting the streets as we speak. He's going to get us all the feel of the streets today. And joining me again is my co-host Frank Morano to break down the whole impeachment story.
All right, so let's talk about where we are. Now, we this morning saw the House Judiciary Committee vote along partisan lines to refer 2 articles of impeachment to the full House. It looks like they're going to vote on these 2 articles, the full House, next week. Now, by the way, for starters, they debated this for 14 hours yesterday. The House Judiciary, which is ridiculous in and of itself, because we know that every single member of the Judiciary Committee knew 24 hours ago exactly how they were going to vote, right? So they debated it for 14 hours yesterday, and we thought we were going to watch last night as there was going to be a vote, and we'd finally be able to get on with this whole process, have the Judiciary Committee vote, then have the House vote, then have the Senate vote. But just when you thought it was safe to watch television, this is what happened last night, thanks to the Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerrold Nadler.
There was no consulting from the minority ranking member on your schedule for tomorrow, in which you just blown up schedules for everyone. This is the kangaroo court that we're talking about.
It's more Stalin-esque than
unbelievable. Not even consult.
Just Stalin-esque. Let's have a dictator. It's good to hear about that.
10 a.m.
Unbelievable.
That's right. At around 11:30 last night, Jerrold Nadler says, you know what? We've been debating for 14 hours, but we're not going to take a vote today. We want you to come back tomorrow morning and vote at 10 o'clock. Now,
he probably had to get back to the Star Wars sequel as where he plays Jabba the Hutt.
No, come on. Keep it above board.
I can't help it. It's Friday. And
ask yourself the question, right? Why would Jerrold Nadler, who we know he knows how every member of the Judiciary Committee is going to vote, you knew how they were going to vote, why would he wait until this morning rather than last night?
You're asking me?
I'm asking
you. It sounds
you.
Rhetorical. It sounds like you know the answer.
No.
Why?
I have a theory.
Why?
But I
don't know. Bob's Big Boy had a buffet going and he had to get there.
He's taking shots for.
Maybe he wanted to get to Perkins early for the double play breakfast or something, or triple play.
I'll tell you, here's my theory. My theory is threefold. One, I don't think he'd like the optics of how it looked for the Democrats in the middle of the night to pass the third impeachment in our history. Two, if they didn't vote until 11:30 last night, they would have missed the next day's papers and would not have been in the front page of day's papers. And so if they do it at 10 a.m., not only is everybody talking about it the whole day on TV and radio and on the internet.
And the weekend.
But the weekend, it's on the front pages of the papers. And three, this is a little, you might think this is a little conspiratorial on my part, but I sincerely believe this. What is today? What's today?
I love me some good conspiracy theory, baby. Bring it.
Today,
you know Epstein's not dead.
That's right.
That you know, so let's get another one in here.
The danger with you slipping stuff in like that is it diminishes our credibility when we're talking about other stuff.
It doesn't. I mean, listen, there are people in our audience who believe in conspiracy theories, and they believe that Epstein did not commit suicide.
No, that's a different story. You're saying Epstein is still alive.
I'm
There's
saying
no
he
one
didn't
that
commit
believes
suicide.
That. But today's Friday the 13th, and I guarantee you, Jerrold Nadler wanted the headline of House Judiciary Committee passes articles of impeachment on Friday the 13th. Unlucky day for President Trump as Judiciary Committee passes House articles of impeachment. You know, because you think about the Saturday Night Massacre with Nixon, would that have sounded as good as if it took place on a Wednesday? Wednesday Night Massacre, who cares? Black Monday, which John lived through on Wall Street, would that have sounded as good if it was Black Wednesday? No. It's all in the optics. He wanted
like
more media
Women
attention.
Wednesday?
Yeah, he wanted more media attention, and he wanted the headline of an unlucky day for President Trump on Friday the 13th. That's my theory.
Well, if you ask me, it's an unlucky day for him and his whole caucus there, because they're going to wind up with egg on their face, as far as I'm concerned, and then they're going to say, ooh, remember that fateful Friday the 13th back in December of 2019. And by the way, for those of you Friday the 13th aficionados out there, you know, the whole thing is, ooh, it's so unlucky and everything else. Be a little positive on this Friday the 13th. Look at the bright side. a Friday the 13th in December will not happen again for another 500 years.
Wow.
So we're pretty lucky to be alive on the last Friday the 13th for the next 500
Absolutely.
years. It's not
It's last
bad.
Friday
I mean,
13th.
celebrate it
Last Friday
instead
13th.
of buying into the negativity of it.
Last Friday the 13th.
Live,
in
love,
December.
be free.
Yeah. All right. Now, China, which avoided a round of tariffs, which was going to be enacted next week, and theoretically, if stretched to its completion, this deal could help juice the economy just in time for his reelection. Now, what's your take on this? You have any?
My take on it, the guy's a master. He's a master. He said a few weeks ago, we don't need a trade deal right now. We can wait till after 2020. And then China's like, oh, no, he's not going to do it. He's going to hit us with more tariffs on the 15th. So they come racing back to the table, okay? Now, if you ask me, he's probably had this deal tucked in his pocket for the last week or so, knowing he's got it. He said, okay, these idiots are going to try to impeach me on Friday the 13th and grab the news cycle for the weekend. Well, let me just wait for them to do it. And then he's going to be talking about the markets Monday if there is a trade deal. And instead of new tariffs on Sunday, we're actually rolling back some of those previous punitive tariffs in a
trusted to live up to any sort of deal they make with us. So
That's true also.
I don't want to deal with China where we continue to give them most favored nation status and let them, using slave labor and pollution like crazy, ship their goods into our country and compete with American businesses.
Yep.
I didn't want this trade deal. I want those tariffs. Bring on those China specifics. There's no way that you can trust these bastards to live up to them. Let me tell you something. Hang on.
Might be prohibited.
I don't think it is.
Just saying.
I just reviewed the prohibited list after your segment with Mo Vila. Second of all, if we're going to be serious about American industry and rebuilding American manufacturing, which is the hallmark of Trumpism, and it's the thing that most attracted me to him, is we need a decoupling of the Chinese and American economy.
You're right. You're right.
Got to happen.
Can
that's
I-
not going to happen unless we put in these tariffs.
Can I tell
Bring
you
on the
something?
Chinese tariffs.
Jess, if you could, film this also with your phone. You want to know what my plan is? And I know President Trump every so often tunes into Liquid Lunch, so I'm gonna tweet this at him. But you made such a great point there, and the president knows this. We can't trust these people or believe them for anything. The Chinese cannot be trusted, okay? What President Trump needs to do right now is call up President Xi and let him know that we're canceling $20 billion worth of treasury bonds of ours that they hold.
Well,
we're
look,
canceling them, and we're putting them in escrow, and then we have a little deposit on hand. If you break the rules, you're losing $20 billion. And then I think they'll sit up at attention and start dealing with us fairly.
I
know,
know.
it's an easy one.
I know.
President Trump tells Xi you're canceling $20 billion in treasury bonds as a security deposit against the New Deal.
The president had it right with these tariffs. Stick with these tariffs. The bottom line is, even if this trade deal is fully enforceable from the U.S. Point of view, which, by the way, that's a huge if, there is no reason that we should not look at decoupling the American and Chinese
I want a
economies.
security deposit. That's what I want. And the president is the best negotiator out there. He just tell him, listen, we're canceling.
Right? As Alan Donaldson, who's been a guest on the show, has pointed out,
They're
he's got
coming out with the
reality check off.
petrodollar with Russia. They're trying to get the
but not only
U.S.
that,
dollar
not
out
only
of the
that.
basket
But not
as
just-
the foreign currency to the world.
Not just the U.S. dollar. They are working very hard to reduce their dependence on U.S. tech and other high-value services that are not on the U.S. market. That's always that poison our kids with lead toys that we can sell in Walmart. This is a joke. The economy is strong. This is the lowest unemployment rate we've seen in 50 years. We have real wage growth. The fundamentals of the economy is strong, the debt notwithstanding. Now is the time. We're in a position of strength. Now's where we should bring China to their knees.
Without question. And they're on a 100-year plan. They don't care about their people. They want to just keep sending us $150 Nikes that mostly younger women are getting paid like 30 cents a day and working 20 hours a day for. But we're dumb enough to pay $120 to a company who, by the way, spends $40 million to give you none other than their spokesperson, Colin Kaepernick, No, a washed-up football player with a poor career, and that's who they roll out to us.
Yeah, now, I do want to point
you
out,
know,
just
it's like all across. They support China. Nike supports China.
I want to point out, though, lest anyone think that we're doing away with all the tariffs, we're not. The 25% tariffs that were in place are still in place. It's just the new tariffs that were going to go into effect next week. Those are the ones that the president has pumped the brakes on. I wish he hadn't, but I'm glad those other tariffs are still in place.
Excellent, Dave. We should actually put some tariffs on Nikes. You know what I'm saying? Because they got so much money. They paid Colin Kaepernick $40 million to be their Just Do It spokesman. I don't know. It's crazy things are happening out there, man. Keep your kids close. Keep an eye on their tech. Because the Chinese are trying to get in your house any way they can, front door, back door, your kid's phone. We're going to keep talking about it throughout hour two. We'll take a quick break. Back after this with the man on the street.